was a beautiful day outside for sports across the tri-states, even if I got a little sunburnt in the process. We start off our trip tonight right here in town. That's where Quincy High was taking on Moline on the baseball diamond. The Blue Devils manning QU Stadium for their home field and game one of their doubleheader versus the Maroons. Brady Lowe on the bump for QHS, and he was dealing. There he is right there with the early punch out. Moline, though, they were quick to answer on the pitcher's mound as they collect a strikeout of their own. Still all tied up at 3 apiece. Blue Devils trying to get the bats going. Owen Zanger with a big rip up the middle. The Maroons, they'll cough it up at shortstop, and Big O is able to make his way safely to first, but Quincy was unable to bring him home. Top 6, Maroons break the game wide open. They get a nice bloop into shallow left center field. 1 run would come in to score, and that's all it would take to put this one away. In the end, the comeback effort would come up just short as the Blue Devils dropped game 1 5-3 to Moline. In game 2, Quincy High fell 14-1, and they'll be back in action later this week. Quincy High wasn't the only team in action today on the baseball diamond. Illini West hosting Elmwood Brimfield. Carter Chapman gets the offense going. We'll get those highlights in here in just a minute. Here we are, game 1 for Illini West. Carter Chapman with one up through the middle of the infield for the first hit of the game. Later that inning, Colby Robertson up to bat now. He'll show off his wheels as he makes contact and outruns the throw to first base. IW, they'd capitalize on the early base runners. Stephen Sparks up in the batter's box now. He gets a shot to short. They can't get a handle on it. The error will allow the Chargers to get on the scoreboard. Elmwood Brimfield was tough to keep up with, though. The next frame, they would bring home another run, and when it's all over, Illini West would fall at home 7-4. They're now 11-2 overall, and they'll be back in action tomorrow at Busch Stadium. In other baseball action across the tri-states, Unity wins 2 games today. They defeat Payson 6-1, and then Triopia 12-0. Camp Point gets by Liberty 12-2. And across the river in Missouri, Marion County goes 1-1 in the day. They fall to Atlanta 5-4 and defeat La Plata 11-6. On the softball dirt, Pittsfield 2-0 today. They get by Alton. And then Pleasant Hill also 2-0 today, 15-0 against Hartsburg-Emden, and then 2-1 against Pleasant Plains. Camp Point goes 1-2 on the day. 9-1 victory over Oakwood, but they fall to Tuscola and Marshall. Across the river on the soccer pitch, Hannibal was hosting their annual soccer tournament. Big crowd at the Veteran Sports Complex to watch the Lady Pirates versus St. Charles West. Hannibal wasting no time getting on the board. Abby Martin weaving through the defense like a ball on a string. Finds the back of the net to put her team up 1-0. She makes it so easy out there. Later on, Pirates pushing the pace again. This time, they find Martin on the cross, and she pitches it in to make it a 2-0 ball game. Game starting to get out of hand. St. Charles West looking for a break, and boy, did they get one. Look at the save by their keeper, not once, but twice to keep the lead of Hannibal's at 2. That wouldn't be the case for long, though. Ashley Davis taking over, and she'll cash in another goal in transition to make the lead 3-0. It was more of the same the rest of the way, and these Pirates are the real deal. They take down St. Charles West 5-1. Sage Stratton and the QND Lady Raiders were also in action at Hannibal today. They taken on Perryville in the afternoon slate. Stratton with the ball in the corner, lofts off a nice cross, and Lauren Peters uses her head to get the team on the board first. The Lady Raiders were being aggressive on both ends of the dirt on the grass. Here, Lily Schutte with the PK, and she keeps this one low to give Quincy Notre Dame the 2-0 advantage. The Lady Raiders looking to bring that momentum into the second half. Off the free kick, a deflection from Stratton allows Addie Flesh to punch this one in right in front of the net. Quincy Notre Dame wouldn't stop there. This time, they'll go to the corner kick. Sage Stratton with the boot. First attempt up here, no good, but here comes a sliding Sierra Thomas who buries this one point blank. The rest of the way was a piece of cake as the Lady Raiders pick up the 4-1 victory over Perryville. And then another soccer action. Quincy High gets the victory over Jacksonville 8-0. Taylor Roof scored 3 goals along with Bree Lannard. Moore and Morrison added 1 apiece. That's all the time we have for sports. I'll send it over to Kyle for one more look at the forecast.